Hello, I'm Mike Hall. Thanks for inviting Ian, Shane and myself here at PLASA to do this talk. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I do hope you find this video interesting. I'm going to briefly give my story of collecting and bring you up to date with the Technical Theatre Preservation Group. Now, I started working backstage at school, quickly joining the thriving amateur dramatic scene in Manchester in both lighting and stage work. Fairly quickly developing an interest in all the old equipment I was using every day in these venues. Indeed, at school, we had a healthy stock of strand and major equipment and the usual junior 8 in the stage left wing. Now, this led to me spending many hours of my teenage life rewiring and refurbishing lighting on the kitchen table at home. I had very accepting and understanding parents. There were plenty of nice old bits of kit to be found and tried out, often at home, in my bedroom as well, as you can see from these pictures. In 1993, my professional career began. I managed to get casual work at Manchester's Palace Theatre. The stage manager at the time knew of my enthusiasm for the old and unusual and would show me all sorts of interesting remnants of the venue's past. Manchester's a great city for theatre. I worked in most venues and met some great people who also had an interest in the past, not least Phil Edwards at the Royal Northern College of Music. Now, he was a Strand man through and through who actively encouraged my collecting and told me many stories of old Strand days. I would take unwanted equipment that was gathering dust or heading to the bin from any theatres, clean it up and use it at local Amdrams or at my old school. One day I was given a load of old unwanted front of house lighting from the Palace. This included a pile of 808s and T-spots. There were larger amounts of kit that needed saving too. The old ABC in Blackpool had, I think, gone over to bingo and was imminently going to be refurbished into a nightclub. So a friend of mine knew the manager. He said there was a load of old equipment on stage that needed clearing. We went along and found lighting, sound, drapes, the old house taps, all sorts of stuff. But the best of the bunch being a wonderful Stelmar carbon arc follow spot. This found a home in my parents' garage whilst I cleaned it up and got it mechanically working. An amazing piece of kit, wonderful to work on. Now, this spot, along with much of the equipment, found a home at my old school. In 1999, I was working at the Bridgewater Hall in Manchester, the Free Trade Hall over the road having closed, with plans being drawn up to make it into a hotel, which it has become today. Now, there was a lot of old equipment left in there, so one Sunday morning, I went along with a van and removed a good amount of lanterns, including a pair of really nice pattern 93 Ns with colour change units on the front. As well as this, I took the piano lift sign from outside the lift gates in the basement and also a couple of Strand control boards, which were fitted remotely in the auditorium for lighting the platform and colour change. Now, by this time, I had a lot of equipment. Many special items stayed with me where I was living, but much, as I've said, had to be dispersed elsewhere for safekeeping. This was a mistake. Move on to spring 2002, and I start work at Scottish Opera as head flyman, just to cover a 6-week season. I ended up staying for 4 years and becoming acting stage manager for the venue. Roll on a few years, and we move up to Dundee. My wife Kate taking a job at Dundee Rep Theatre, and the items keep coming. So I decided we needed extra storage. I took a small self-store unit in a local facility. A few years ago, Glasgow Citizens Theatre embarked on a major refurbishment. Following this, I've now got a collection of wooden cleats from the fly floor, a nice header block from the grid, and 2 ceramic liquid dimmers. Many of you will know Roger Fox, founder of Theatre Plan Consultants, a man who spent his entire life in theatre and was a founder of the ABTT. Now, Roger keeps coming up with things for the archive. Recent examples are 2 chairs that were used in the boardroom of Strand Electric's offices in King Street. There's also a pair of wine racks, which were in the Blue Room, which was the hospitality area of the same offices. Also given some items from the Royal Opera House archives, which were deemed no longer necessary. So there's a counterweight cradle, some pulleys, some water valves, and a few other bits and bobs, which were all removed during the 1997 refurbishment. More recently, I was given the prompt desk from Glasgow's Theatre Royal, which had been replaced after 25 years of service. Now, things really took a turn towards the current position around this time last year. I was made aware by Roger Fox that there was an extensive collection in desperate need of saving. This was all the remaining items from the Enlighten Initiative, an organisation set up in Sheffield by Bob Morgan and Associates to refurbish and then lend out lighting equipment to local groups, local amateurs, people like that. Hundreds of lanterns and pieces of kit were refurbished, and a vast amount of books, paperwork, catalogues, brochures were collected relating to almost every theatre and manufacturer you could imagine. With the closing of the Enlighten Initiative, much of this was sold off. Equally, many items were rescued by Shane Guy for his collection, with a great deal being stored at Shane's workplace, Nottingham Trent University. Then the inevitable happened. The building in which the collection was housed was going to be refurbished, and all this had to go ASAP. Now, the collection as it was this time last year comprised a very large amount of historic lanterns and associated lighting equipment, along with boxes and boxes of paperwork and books. So we found some storage nearby in Nottingham. Ian, Shane, myself, and a couple of local friends went along and shifted it all. This was going to have to do until a better, longer-term solution could be found. With my outgrowing of my small lockup, I decided to look elsewhere for storage and found it in a local business centre. It's mainly offices, but there are workshop rooms which have exposed steel beams in the roof, ideal for hanging lighting equipment from. Now, I've had the idea for quite some time that this collection should not just be kept hidden away personally by me. It has an interest from many other people. So I decided, once I was taking the Enlighten Initiative archive as well, I decided to formalise the collection along with Ian and Shane and make it into a collection that is accessible to anyone who's interested. I thought about many names, but decided that the Technical Theatre Preservation Group works well. It covers all aspects. We're not just lighting. I've been buoyed on by the recent successes of the Broadcasting Engineering Conservation Group in opening their museum, and the recent official formation by our friends in the Historic Stage Lighting Collective, which makes me believe this is the right time to formalise this collection. As part of this, I've joined the Association of Independent Museums as a small museum. I hope this will allow us access to resources and information which will be helpful in the future. Our grand plan is to make this growing collection safe, to make all items accessible to historians, students, or anybody with an interest in theatrical history. We want to build a website with photos and information about all the artifacts we've got, and I'd like to sort all the books out into a proper library so that they can be borrowed and researched from. We need to form an official committee with a governance procedure and in time hope to become a charity. The dream is to find a suitable premises rather than just a store where people can come and visit, just like a proper museum. We're hoping to tie in with local colleges, universities, and indeed museums who may want to show off some of the artifacts in the collection. One of the main concerns now is funding. Aside from one very welcome donation, this recent move, along with some necessary recent acquisitions has been entirely paid for out of our own pockets. The rent, electric bills, van hire, not to mention buying shelving for the store. It's all been a financial burden. I've approached a number of funding organisations, mainly to test the water. The reception has been somewhat disappointing. Funders don't seem to be interested in the past, but we'll keep trying. Now, I just wanted to catch up on some of this old equipment that I left lying around in various other safe spaces all those years ago because I had nowhere else to store it. You're probably expecting me to say I made a phone call, went to look in an old disused storeroom somewhere, and bingo, there was all this wonderful stuff just waiting for me. Well, no, that didn't happen. It's all gone. I've no idea where it is. Apart from one item. A few months back, a church hall near my parents was being sold. I'd done many shows in there years and years and years ago, and I had a notion there might be something interesting left behind, so I went to have a look. There was a couple of sad-looking pattern 23s, front of house, a few other bits and bobs, nothing very interesting. I wanted to look on the balcony, and they couldn't find the key, so I insisted, and they did find the key, and we went up on the balcony, and there, in the back corner, was a pattern 93 being used as a follow spot. My pattern 93, the very one that I had cleaned and refurbished and rebuilt some 25 years before, and it had been left there unused for all this time. So now, thanks to my friend Clive Eastwood, who actually went and got it for me, the slider dimmer and the nice Venrico stand that it was on are now in pride of place in the store at the Technical Theatre Preservation Group. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to be involved or indeed would like to donate artefacts or funds to the TTPG, then please do have a look at the website, ttpg.org.uk. Ian and Shane also have business cards with our details on that they'll be giving out. Thank you very much. And finally, just in case you were wondering what this is a Strand satellite lighting desk made in 1981, thought to be the only one of its kind in Britain. This is our latest acquisition, and hopefully we'll be getting it working. Watch this space.